What's up, Mr. fucking Desert Dime?
What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another amazing video. So all last month I went on this whole rebuild journey with my truck for a few reasons. One, because it's been about 5 years since I did the initial build on it and it needed some love. And two, which is the main reason, the rear end just was not performing the way I wanted it to at all. So I thought, you know what, it's time to switch up the rear end. And in the process I thought, well, what's the furthest you could push a mid-travel build up until the point where you would have to go long travel, like cutting through the bed, doing a bed cage and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of set me on this journey of, let's see if we can build the best or the most crazy handling mid-travel build that you can, while trying to not cut through the bed and try to stay stock body and all that good stuff. So that's the journey I went on over the past month, and I want to show you guys what's been done since the last time I made a walk around video just before that process started. Now keep in mind, most of the stuff I'm going to be going over on this vehicle, I will be putting a card up in the top referencing a video, because I did document most of the whole rebuild process. So if you guys want to see any particular part more in depth, the card's going to be up there for you to go see the video after. And now, before we jump into the whole walk around, I want to thank you guys so much, because we have hit our year goal of 1,000 subscribers 3 months early. We hit 1,000 subscribers, I think, just before my birthday, which was a nice birthday gift from you guys. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to set a new goal of 1,500 by the end of the year, since we hit our goal so early. So 1,500 by the end of the year, 1,500 subscribers. If you guys have any friends or family that are into off-roading, go ahead and share the channel. Let's try to hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of the year. And you guys are gonna have to excuse all this outside noise like planes and leaf blowers and wind and all that stuff, because I don't have a mic yet. So with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the build. Now, I also want to throw the disclaimer out there that what you're seeing here in this video today is not the final product. I am still going to be continuously adding some parts here and there to try to enhance, again, what I'm trying to make the best mid-travel build ever. So this is basically a 2.0 version. We're gonna have a 2.1, 2.2, all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's jump into this. So as far as suspension goes up front, I did not change anything from the previous build. It is still a 2.5 king coilover, extended travel with a remote reservoir and no adjusters. And for the upper control arm, we have the Camberg Billet Kinetic Series boxed upper control arm with the Heim joints. Now, during the rebuild process, I did send off the coilovers to DC Shock Service in San Dimas, because, like I said, it's been 5 years and they needed some love. They had not been serviced once since I put them on. So they got serviced. Same time some stuff in the rear was going on, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, for the wheel and tire setup, we have a 16-inch Method double standard in black, probably one of the most common wheels you'll see on the second gens, but I think it just looks damn good with the silver. I think it looks amazing. I might go ahead and change the color up in the future. I have a very, very fun color idea in mind for it, but we'll see what happens. Now, wrapped around this 16-inch Method wheel, we have BF Goodrich KO2s in a 33. It's technically a 32.8, I think, but close enough to a 33. It's a 285/75/16. Flip your computer or phone upside down if you want to read that. Now, for having these tires for 5 years and about 50,000 miles, they held up very, very well. This is probably the most beat up tire out of the whole set, and it still has some tread on it. It's chewed up from a trail video that I did that I'll link, but they held up very well for 5 years compared to the KOs I had before these. Now, I don't know if I'm going to switch up to a different tire setup next time I go and get tires, or if I'm going to stick with these. Leave some suggestions in the comments of your favorite tires that you run, because I'm open to suggestions right now. Now, if you look closely inside these tires, you will see the R1 Concept drilled and slotted rotors that I added during this whole rebuild process. And you can't see, but I also added their off-road performance brake pads. So going into this whole rebuild, I had a lot of braking issues with soft pedal, like multiple soft pedals going on. Like, I'd have a soft pedal, I took it in, got it fixed. Months later, it went soft again. So it's really dangerous to do while off-roading, because that's where I found out they were going soft. I went blowing by Jared on accident with my foot all the way to the floor on the brake. So did new rotors, new brake pads, and some more brake stuff in the rear that we'll talk about when we get over there. Now, more recently, like this past week recently, I did a lot more trimming because oh, that's something I forgot. There's wheel spacers, 1.25 inch wheel spacers on this, because I needed to run wheel spacers with the rear kit and I just wanted to match the front to the rear. So I have wheel spacers, which made me run into a bunch of rubbing problems now because I'm poking out a little further. So I had to trim some more. Now I don't want to get too in depth with the whole trimming situation right now because I have a video that's either just came out or is just about to come out explaining most of it. But essentially I'm gonna, like I said, I'm trying to keep the stock body line and not do fiberglass. So I'm just gonna start trimming a little bit at a time and seeing what I can get away with as far as trimming goes. Now the reason I'm telling you all of this is because one thing I am going to try to add in the front is a spindle, which I've been avoiding for a long time, and hoping that spindle will give me a little bit more ground clearance, push me a little further away from the truck to get not as much rubbing going on. So that's basically it for the front and basically the future plans I have, just the spindle right now. I'm not sure how much further you can really push a front end before going long travel. If you have any other suggestions, let me know. Maybe a 3.0. And before we move on to the rear, I'll jack up the front for you guys so you can kind of see what the travel looks like and how far it's going to droop out. Alright, so you can see there we are off the floor on the passenger side and barely coming off on the driver's side. Nothing too crazy up front. Again, I mean stock, lower stock, spindle. Alright, now it is time for the main part of the rebuild, the rear end. This is the part that I'm most excited about and the part that has mainly changed since the actual rebuild. The whole 2.0 and 2.0. And yes, I'm using bricks instead of blocks of wood because I don't have blocks of wood and I do have bricks, so sorry about it. So the jack is maxed out right now. It can't go any higher, but it's pretty much almost off the ground. Maybe an inch, if that, at most. More needs to come off. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got going on. So the meat and potatoes of the rebuild was this shock relocation kit from Archive Garage. So Archive Garage makes this shock tower right here that welds onto the frame and goes all the way up to the bottom or top, bottom side of the wheel well. And it bolts into the top right here with this little plate just for a little added safety. But aside from the two bolts there, it is 360 welded to the frame right where your old mount used to be. So you have to cut off the old stock mounts, weld this one on, and when you weld it on, it allows you to run either, there's a few different configurations here, so please bear with me. You could run a 2.0 or a 2.5 in either a 12-inch or a 14-inch, and it is also said that you can run certain specs of bypasses in here as well. Now I went with the 2.5 by 12 mainly because I know I didn't need a bypass because I'm not running the desert like that. I don't need a bypass with all the adjustments and all the cooling, as nice as it would be. But I do have the option to switch to it in the future, which is great. Now I didn't go with the 14 because I didn't think I'd be pulling all 14 inches out of that shock anyways, so I thought it would just kind of be a waste of sorts. So I went with the 12-inch. Now I wasn't wrong in thinking that I wasn't going to use all 14 inches when choosing to go with the 12, and I wasn't wrong. Because right now at almost full droop right now with what we have now, I'm at just barely 11 inches of rod showing, so not even using a full 12 right now. Now what I did not account for is the future plans I have for this, which we'll go over in a second, but going with the 14 would have been beneficial because I am going to be exceeding the 12 once I go with the next modification I plan on doing to the rear end. So I could have saved myself some time and probably some money as well, just going straight with the 14. But I mean, I wanted to test every step of the way of this whole rebuild kind of best mid-travel thing for you guys, so you can see what stage you kind of want to stop at or where you want to lie without having to spend too much or spend too little. And you know, I'm just trying to do all the legwork for you right now. So back to the shock. It is a 2.5 by 12 inch with a massive remote reservoir compared to what the OEM replacement ones are. Like, my hands are pretty big and they're covering just about half of this reservoir. And I finally went with the adjusters. Now paired with all of this shock relocation and this nice massive shock is the same leafs I was running before, the Deaver J66, which I sent in the same time I sent in the coilovers to get rebuilt by Deaver, because again, they'd been on for 5 years and I just wanted them re-prepped. Now I don't know if I'm gonna stick with the J66 or if I'm gonna end up switching to a different leaf pack. Only time will tell as I progress with this mid-travel build. Now going back to that brake work conversation we're having up front, you have to run extended brake lines in the rear for this kit because you're gonna be pulling more travel. So the stock brake lines just won't cut it. So these are Crown extended brake lines from AccuTune, and they say that they're +4 over the stock length brake lines. So again, with this kit, you do have to run a wheel spacer, 1.25 with the wheel specs I have. If you go on Archive Garage's website, they kind of break down what you need for what setup you're running. But yeah, it needs the wheel spacer because the tire gets too close to the shock shaft since it's, you know, the geometry is different now and it's a larger shock shaft. Well, not larger, but it, you know, it kind of gets closer to the tire. You know what I'm trying to say. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Dime, that's pretty cool, but how does it perform? You know, that's what we're here for. We want to know if it could eat. We want to know if it could handle. We want to know if that thing can rip. Guys, don't worry, I got you. We already went on 1 day of testing with this, but it was on a trail. We went to Bee Canyon for Labor Day, and we did a trail run, and that was my first day testing out this whole new rebuild. And dude, this thing handled amazing. Like night and day difference from the OEM replacement rear to this right now. I couldn't even feel the rear end. It handles better than the front right now. But keep in mind, this truck is mainly in the desert. It's not really doing trails because I just love desert riding more than trails. So we haven't tested it in the desert yet. That's coming up in less than a month. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to see that, because that's mainly where I'm going to be running it and mainly where I want to test it. But back to the trail thing, if you guys want to see how it handled and get more in-depth kind of feel for how this kit handles, like I said, we made a video at the Bee Canyon, so I'll link that. You should go watch that because that's me first time running this. And I'm sure somewhere throughout this video I'll sprinkle in certain pictures and clips and reference my Instagram of videos and pictures of me flexing this out, so you'll get to see that as well. And as far as future plans for this goes, since I am running an Archive Garage shock relocation kit, I kind of wanted to keep it in the family of Archive Garage. Not just because, oh, I want it all to be the same, but because I truly do love the company. I love the company so much that I actually have reached out to them, trying to work with them. I haven't heard back yet. Hopefully they're down to work together because I would love to work with them. I love their company. I love their customer service. I love their products, everything about them. It's a fantastic company. If you want to hear me rave about them some more, go watch the video where I had this whole kit installed and welded on and everything, because in the second half of that video I really just go in depth talking about the company and all the great aspects about them. So anyways, as far as future plans go on what more am I adding to this to make it better, Archive Garage makes what you guys may have heard of, the hammer hangers. It's a shackle and hanger, a whole new shackle hanger setup. So you take out all the stock ones and put in their shackle hanger setup. It's supposed to be the highest clearance one on the market. It's supposed to allow everything to articulate a lot better and a lot more, which will get me to the 14 if I had gotten the 14. So again, that's where it comes in. I should have just got the 14 right off the bat, because going with those hangers and everything is going to allow me to get all 14 out of it. Aside from that, they have some other things like a cross member that goes under the bed, which I don't know if I'll run in the future or not. They have a U-bolt flip kit, which takes out the stock kind of bump stop cone and puts in one of those like it's a different kind of bump stop setup, which is supposed to be better than this. And that's one of the biggest things that I actually want to change out, is either switch this to a different bump stop, switch it to those accordion style bags, or maybe even do like an actual like king bump with a strike pad, which would probably be the best route. But again, if Archive's willing to work with me, I'll work with them, we'll get it done. And again, some leaf pack work might get done as well, all depending on just various things with this whole rebuild. And just a few more honorable mentions that has nothing to do with the suspension, but I do have a full-size spare setup in the bed with an NFAB strap, which I'm actually probably going to be switching out for a Dirt King strap soon and moving it closer to the tailgate. And inside, it's got nothing to do with off-roading at all, but got a sick-ass beer tap shift knob that I'm actually going to get rid of soon and switch to a different, two different shift knobs that I'll just change out as I see fit. Oh my god, you can't forget the drop test. I almost forgot the drop test, guys. So guys, as you can see, this build has actually come a very long way since it's V1, if you will, just all OEM replacement, and now we have this going on. It is literally a night and day difference, so I'm super stoked on how it turned out, and I'm super excited to see what's coming in the future with all the different things I'm going to be adding, and just looking at all the different configurations you can do with a Tacoma and a mid-travel setup without going crazy long travel, you know? As much as I want to keep it a stock body, I am toying with the idea of just getting yeah, I am toying with the idea of doing a +2 McNeil glass just so everything can fit without rubbing and I can just get all that off my plate, because the rubbing is probably the biggest issue I have right now. But like I said, this is all just going to be a journey, especially since desert season is starting and I'm actually going to get to go out and test it, see the weaknesses, see the strengths, see what I could change. So it's going to be a rapid snowball effect these next few months. We're just going to be hammering out content. We're going to be hammering away on this build, trying to make it even better. So guys, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. We have a lot of great stuff coming. And again, thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. Let's get to 1,500 by the end of the year, and we'll set an even crazier goal for next year. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one.